Testing, testing, one, two, three, four. I want to make sure you guys can hear me and there's no echo in the background, no buffering, slowing down, or anything like that. Happy New Year, Betty. Happy New Year, everybody. This has been an exciting New Year already. I can tell you that. But Happy New Year's, everybody. I know you guys haven't heard from me since before the New Year. So I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year um, and many more to come. Sounds good. Okay. Hey, John. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Tanika. Hey, Olympia. Mm. Hey, Sylvester. What it do? Hey, Sissy. Hey, Viz. As I told my family yesterday, this was a upsetting moment for us as a Justice for Kenneka community. A lot of us expected this end result anyway, as far as the docu-series goes. A lot of us already expected it. But, some of us, especially myself, we still held on to a little hope that they would at least, like John said before, leave us with a cliffhanger. So what do you think? Accidental death or murder? They didn't even do that. They just strictly ruled out um, murder. They basically said the YouTubers are creating conspiracy theories. And if you guys paid attention, they said we're doing this for views. And I was just really distraught by that because I was thinking the first time I decided to step on and look in this case, how worried I was, and how I felt like I was putting myself at risk and possibly my family. I remember, me going back and forth with my husband, and he was saying, just leave that alone, let everybody else handle that, put your input in or whatever. But as far as you actually stepping out to the forefront, don't do it. And I was really nervous, and me, as many as other YouTubers, from what I've seen, we have a lot of talent that we could have used to create a platform or a brand and give views. Nobody would have decided, hello, everybody that's just coming in. I'm sorry, I just went right to it. Nobody would have decided to speak on something that they really had no idea where this would take them or how they was actually putting their life in jeopardy. Nobody would have decided to do this just for views or just for clout. We all saw the pictures, we all saw the video, our heart cringed for Kanika and what happened to her. Okay, so I was really upset when they said that. I'm like, for views, for clout, are you serious? That's basically what they saying. We clout chasing. Um, and that really pissed me off, amongst all other things. But I just had to get that out. Like that really pissed me off because my mind went back to that day when I was anticipating whether or not I should actually do this. You know, um, so I couldn't believe that they said that. And then they use YouTubers that really nobody really know, just to make a joke out of us as a community. So I just wanted to put that out there first and foremost because I want us to remain strong. And I want us, if we have never came together and united as one before, now is the time, y'all. Now is the time. Because the way I see it, it's us versus them. They put us all in a box together. So I think that this is the time that we actually stand strong, unite, and continue to fight for Kanika. John and a few more YouTubers have already decided to come together and create a pathway for us to take our shot at trying to get this case reopened. So if any of you have not heard about it, click on over to John's channel, watch some of his lives. He have a content creators list. Join him. Okay, it's not about us as individuals. It's about us working together as a team and getting justice for Kanika. And I just feel like now is the time for us to come together, stand strong, and at least let's see what we can do. Because I do think that this thing goes high up the ladder. I've been saying that, or high up the pyramid. I've been saying that from day one. But like John said, the least we can do is just take a shot at it and then say, okay, well, we tried. We tried. And they just don't want to hear us. Or we actually succeeded, okay, in what we set out to accomplish from day one. So I just wanted to put that out there first because you guys don't believe the hype. Do not believe the hype. Kanika did not walk into that freezer. If you guys watch the docu series and you still believe to this day that Kanika did not walk in that freezer, please let it be known for anybody that thinks the otherwise and watch this channel. Please let it be known that Kanika did not walk into that freezer. Please let it be known right now that you still standing for justice for Kanika and you will not let up. Please let it be known right now that you are still fighting for her and the fight will continue and we will not let up. We don't care what series you put out, what false information you put out, what edited footage you put out, what lies you put out, what distractions you put out. We are not letting up. Please let that be known right now, you guys. Let that be known right now, please. I was pissed. I still am a little. But I have to stand strong because I consider myself as one of the leaders that's assisting everybody with this case. And I'm talking about as far as the YouTube community. So I have to keep a level head, and I can't allow my emotions to take the best of me like I did in the beginning. You see where that got me? I had to step away. I had to take some breaks. I lost some friendships along the way, snapping on folks. Just all kind of crazy stuff. So I have to remain level headed throughout this whole ordeal. But I was very upset watching that. Very upset. Love you too, Beverly. And that's one thing we have to understand. Like a lot of us, we don't know each other. We just met during this whole Kanika ordeal, but we became a family. We have gained some friendships along the way. We have some strong bonds, and we need to just remain strong through this thing, you guys, because they're not playing fair. They are not playing fair at all. And I was thinking, like John said, they were gonna leave us with a cliffhanger, but no, they hid to us. Kanika walked into that freezer and pretty much just collapsed, rolled over on the floor, laid there and died. She was able to walk up the steps. She was able to get on the elevator. She was able to press the L button on the elevator. She was able to walk in the bathroom and come right out. Why didn't she pass out in the bathroom? Why didn't she just pass out in the bathroom? And I'm so sick of reading people saying, oh, I've been intoxicated before, I've been drunk. Hey, I've been intoxicated before. I've been drunk beyond the point of being drunk. Okay? And I done passed out some places and I done woke up maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour later at the most. Like, what the hell? Where am I at? What am I doing? What's going on? But never have I been in a situation where I'm just so uncomfortable and can't get myself out of it. Hell, I done been drunk driving before. I hate to say it, Lord forgive me, and He did cover me. He covered me and everybody else on that road. But I done been intoxicated driving before. But once I got behind that wheel, I kind of like, anybody ever did that? Kind of like snapped out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you was drunk the whole time you was out, maybe a New Year's Eve celebration or something. The whole time you was out, you was drunk, tipsy, messed up. But by the time you got behind that wheel, when that air hit you, you kind of snapped out a little bit. I just couldn't see myself being in that situation, and nobody else been in that situation where they can just stay inside of a freezing cooler and can't get themselves out that situation being quote unquote drunk. That's why I would never believe she walked in there and just passed out. I would never believe that. I would never believe that. I'm also going to talk a little bit about MTV. John, so I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna talk a little bit about MTV, you guys, before and actually before I start on MTV because I did do like a little research, a little background on MTV. But before I go there, I just want to mention the fact that because we hadn't talked since the before the new year, so if you guys know that there were six labs that went out, lab videos that went out prior to this MTV docu-series. Drop me a one and or drop me a six if you actually seen all six of them. Now I'm not gonna speak on all six of them. I just want to know who's actually catching up, who's followed along with everything. And I mean six of them, meaning Irene, Monifa, Shamaya. Those three went live, and you also had a live from Jedediah, Lamont Records, and P Rico. So altogether, we had six lives that went out prior to this docu series, and these were people who were either involved with the case or just standing beside the mom at the protest, or were involved in the case somehow. Okay, so if you guys seen all six of the docu series, let's just talk about that for a moment before we dive right into the whole MTV thing, because I kind of believe that they knew that this docu series was going to happen. Okay, because this was already in the making long ago. Zach spoke on it, and it was actually rumored that it was going to be an MTV movie or a program or something based off of Kenneka. But all of a sudden, it seemed to me that people started getting nervous. People started getting nervous and wanting to talk, or people start wondering what was on there and why I'm not on there, why I'm not mentioned. I'm a very important asset to this case, and they began to talk. Okay, I only want to really speak on just kind of touch on these for a minute because where was y'all at 2 years ago? So this what made me think that this they actually did not, and it was a premiere before the actual. It was a private premiere, a private showing before the show actually premiered. But I'm not sure who was all invited to that private showing, and I want to believe it definitely wasn't the six people that was went out that was speaking because they had no clue as to what was actually going to be on this series. So I've seen Irene's live. I actually seen all six, but starting with Irene's live, and I've seen so many people say the same thing. She had the same story. She stuck with the same story. Irene was consistent. I feel sorry for Irene. I feel bad for Irene. And when I was watching Irene's live, oh gosh, I got to be real careful what I say because, like I said, I don't want to act off emotions and just remain level headed. Um, when I think, me personally, this is my personal opinion, okay, I kind of felt that it wasn't really hard for her to kind of stick with the story. She wasn't bombarded like she was kind of with Zach and unprepared. With the Zach interview, she was kind of like unprepared. And if you watch the Zach interview, nothing she said made sense. And she was very inconsistent with her statement. If you watch the interview, when she was interviewed, notice they only showed like a 5-second clip of her interview because we could have chopped, just like we chopped that interview up, they could have chopped that interview up, meaning MTV. So this live right here that she just recently did prior to the MTV, she was already, this was her doing. And it was 2 years later. Just like before I clicked that go live button, I already had it set up in my mind. Come on, Jesus. I already had it set up in my mind exactly what it was I wanted to touch on, what points I wanted to make, because this live was by my doing and nobody else's. This live didn't catch me off guard. I set this live up for 12:15 p.m. today. It didn't catch me off guard. Do you guys get what I'm trying to say? So for people to say, her lab was really consistent and her lab was really, she stuck with the same story. What more? I mean, seriously, did y'all expect for her to say? Other than I don't know what happened after Monifa took her out that room. That's what she been saying from the very beginning. But when she started speaking around that, as far as what time such and such showed up, what time they walked out the room, how many drinks did Kenneka have, things like that, that's when you start seeing the lies come out of Irene. However, Irene did shed some light when she spoke about Mariah because a lot of us did not know. Well, I know I didn't know that Mariah was actually considered an enemy of Kenneka. And if you guys can remember in the very beginning, we looked into, Rico. And if y'all don't know, Mariah is Rico's baby mama, Kenneka ex Rico's baby mama. We looked into Rico, and I felt strongly about the lead that I had as far as Kenneka, might have messed up some money of Rico's. And I felt really strongly about that. And I really feel strongly about that money was fronted. That was the Vice Lord's money. And it was a setup. I felt really strongly about that. But what kind of threw me off is seeing all the gangs kind of mingle with each other and seeing, Teresa being okay with Rico. So I said, okay, well, maybe he's not the one that set this thing up, or maybe he was in jail, or maybe this was, so I started looking at other areas. But I was really strong when it came to that right there. So to hear Mariah's name brought back up, I'm like, wow. And then I also heard her say, now I have to go back and watch it, or y'all can go back and watch it and confirm it for me. But it also sounded like she said Mariah knew what happened. How would Mariah know what happened if she wasn't there? Allegedly. If she allegedly wasn't there, how would she know what happened? So, anyway, as they were going back and forth, and yeah, she also spoke on us about the fact that Monifa wasn't invited. Okay, which was new news to us because we all believed that it was Bree Bree that wasn't invited. According to the messages, it was Bree Bree that wasn't invited. Now all of a sudden, it was Monifa that wasn't invited. It's nothing about that laugh, and I'm speaking about Irene's laugh, that would make me think that Monifa was an eyeball and that she wasn't invited or she felt uncomfortable being around Irene. That she was just the person that tagged along. Irene, didn't you use her phone to go live? You could have used your sister's phone. You could have used Neff's phone. Neff was sitting right there. Irene could have used anybody's phone that went live to go live on. But she chose Monifa, correct? Hello, Nika. Hello, everybody. She chose to use Monifa's phone to go live. Um, you go live from somebody's phone who you don't get along with. Share the live on your page, and not to mention y'all was still Facebook friends. Y'all was still Facebook friends. Share the live on her page. Monifa, she looked into the phone, grabbed the phone from you. It just did nothing about their relationship to me seemed off. It just didn't. And I even said that about Bree Bree when it was first said that, Bree Bree wasn't invited. And I said, hey, Bree Bree looked like she was pretty cool to Irene to me. Other than that, Irene didn't really give us nothing new. Other than those two statements, her speaking about Mariah and Irene speaking about the fact that Monifa was not invited, really did not give us anything new because to me, she stuck with the narrative, the same story that she'd been telling from day one. But yet on this live, she actually had time to prepare, get her mind together, and she knew what she was going to say when she went live. So she was a little bit more, she had it more together than she did before. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't feel sorry for Irene, but me myself personally, I don't feel sorry for nobody but Kenneka. Hello, and I said what I said. I don't feel sorry for nobody other than Kenneka. All of them was able to walk out that hotel that night. Kenneka was not. Irene did not stay behind. We did not see Irene walk in the halls looking for her friend since she claimed to be 10 toes down. We did not see her walking around with them looking for her friend. She left. She left the hotel. She stayed in a room and then she left without even getting her butt up and looking for her. I don't feel sorry for her. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying that, this girl probably wasn't attacked and, especially on social media, that her address didn't go out. I'm sure this stuff did happen. Yet we have to remember Irene was hanging out a few days later. And let me tell y'all something in case y'all don't know about hood rats. And what I mean by hood rats, I'm not calling nobody no, rat far as, a whore or prostitute. I mean a hood rat by a female who like to just hang in her hood, who's stuck in her hood, mentally, physically just stuck in her hood, don't like to leave her hood or never left her hood. Most hood rats don't care about leaving outside their hood. They just stuck in their hood. They really don't have no aspirations to take trips out of town or go to other states or even go to another neighborhood and visit. And I'm not just speaking on Irene. I have a lot of family and friends who's like that. I didn't live in the hood, but I grew up maybe 20, 30 minutes away from the hood. And I'm talking about as an adult married to my husband. And I had cousins who wouldn't even travel to see me 20, 30 minutes away because they thought they would miss something. Like something would go down in the hood if they just took the time to come visit. So Irene is the type of person, to me, that's stuck in her hood. I've seen pictures of Irene in her hood. Am I still on? Am I still on? I've seen pictures of Irene. Irene was hanging out in her hood. What are we saying? Irene was hanging out in her hood right after. Y'all don't remember the post, the statuses that was made, how the vice lords had her back. If anybody touch you, they gonna have to answer to me or whatever was said. You don't remember the photo that went out of Irene standing in front of a car, a blue sedan, and like the same car that allegedly shot up J Money. You don't remember Irene hanging out in the hood, pictures of Irene in the hood. Irene them threw a party on Kenneka's either birthday or the day of her death. And they was hanging out. So as far as Irene feeling threatened in her own hood, I doubt that very seriously. Y'all gonna have to miss me with that. And as far as her being threatened outside of her hood, maybe so. But I don't think she has aspirations or even care to even leave outside her hood because she know that in her hood, folks got her back. She known in her hood. She liked in her hood. She got protection in her hood. I mean, come on now, make it make sense. But yeah, outside of her hood, I'm gonna tell you one thing. If Irene was to fly anywhere outside of Chicago, I don't think it'd be a lot of people flocking to her saying, "Hey, are you Irene? Are you that girl?" Because she don't really even look like the same girl that we see in the video with the red hair. I done seen so many photos and videos and lives of Irene, and maybe even wonder like, "Dang, is that Irene?" She look a little different in this photo. When Irene hair is different and she put on different clothes, she kind of look different. And she definitely, to me, still did not resemble that same girl. I'm not saying it's not her. Definitely think it was her on that footage, but she don't look exactly like that person that was in that footage in that room. So I do believe Irene will be able to travel out the state if she wants to, and everybody wouldn't be running to her saying, "Hey, are you Irene?" She looked like an average young black teen. And if she did get that question, she could say, "No, I get that a lot," and move it right along. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. A lot of us, we too weak when it comes to sympathizing for people, that's not the victim. I only sympathize for victims. I'm telling like I don't really, my heart really only go out to victims. But when it comes to people that's not victims and people that's been flogging their money, their protection, their clothes, how they did up their game all along the way, I really have no sympathy from you for you. I'm actually side eyeing you. I watched it come up. right in front of my face. But yet instead, this MTV lab applied a little pressure. She got to speaking because she knew that once again her name, her face, everything was gonna be back in the spotlight. And why isn't it that Monifa name? Because Monifa name wasn't even mentioned. Hello, did I miss something? Was Monifa name even mentioned in the MTV series? I didn't even hear it. Shamaya's name not even mentioned, but here it is once again. My name is back out there in the spotlight. I think that this was her frustration. And the fact that Monifa wrote a status or Monifa said some stuff. And, it was kind of like me, me, me. And she like, wait a minute, what about you? You ain't even being mentioned. Everybody looking at me like I'm the one that did something to her. So there you have it with them two batting back and forth. But at the same time, they still sticking to the script. You don't think that they being watched? They hang in their hood. They always in their hood. They probably couldn't step outside their door because I believe what they fear in their hood is being known as a snitch, a rat. They fear that more than they fear what somebody think about them who they know on social media. They can care less about that. They fear is not actually getting the opportunity to fly somewhere outside the hood and somebody recognize me as the girl on TV. No, they fear stepping outside in their neighborhood and being labeled as a snitch or a rat and breaking their silence or breaking their secrecy. And then I'm seeing people say, oh, Bree ain't have nothing to do with it. Let me remind you of the photo that Bree took with her hand over her mouth in front of Kenneka. Let me bring y'all some of y'all back up to speed. Did we forget of the photo she took in front of Kenneka with her hand over her mouth in the beginning, vowing to secrecy? Whenever you see a photo, that's not an average pose. I don't care what nobody say. The average person don't pose with putting their hand over their mouth. Let's wake up, people. Let's wake up. And you notice they didn't use all three of them. I would like to have seen a quick clip of Shamaya, a quick clip of Monifa, but no, they're too controversial. They would have stirred up some stuff. They only needed one girl to speak. They only needed one girl that was from that party to speak. Using the other ones would have screwed everything up. Now let me tell y'all something that I found on about MTV and this whole docu-series. It's something that we have to understand. Okay, MTV True Life Crime. Okay, there's shows on television that does true life crime documentaries. It's not just MTV. You have the Oxygen, you have the ID channel. Let's just use these for examples. Okay, some of these true life crimes only expose the what and not the why. Okay, because it's a television show. So the point of the television show is to expose the what. Now, when it comes to Oxygen, when it comes to even MTV, from what I read, their only job as a TV show, they only is to just to expose the what. This right here is True Life Crimes new series. It's only exposed the what. What happened to Kenneka Jenkins? What happened to Junior? What happened to such and such? Their job is to only expose the what. They're not real detectives. They're not going to expose the why did this happen. Okay, so of course they're going to just stick with the whole story and the narrative that they're given. They're going to work around that and they're going to present to you the what happened to Kenneka Jenkins. And we all know the beginning from what they say to the end. Kenneka Jenkins was invited to a party. She went to a party with her friends. The ending, she was found in the hotel's freezer. That's the what. Now you have certain channels like the ID channel, for instance. They expose the why. They already have the full story because they take these random stories of acts of violence that happened in a neighborhood, a shooting in a neighborhood. Let me just make up a name. Sam Young. Okay, they just take a shooting that happened in the neighborhood. Sam Young was standing outside of his house and he was gunned down in the middle of the street. ID channel, they will actually have investigators and detectives, and they will find out the why, and they will bring us the why. And they would say Sam Young was beefing with such and such had put out threats on social media. They might even show you clips of the threats that they was putting out on social media. And we believe that this gang right here has everything to do with Sam Young being dead, found in the street in front of his house. Do you get what I'm saying? The ID channel not only show you the what, but they also show you the why. MTV, this new true life crime series, it's not their job to show us the why. Why was Kenneka found in a freezer? The people that was investigating the case are not real investigators for one. They TV hosts. They not detectives. If they are, they just as much as detectives as we are. It's their job to collect enough evidence to be able to produce a television show, a docu-series. Interview some people so they can have enough information to produce a docu-series. It's not their job to dig deeper and give us the why. It's not that type of television show. And this is something that I really had to look into and find out for myself. You guys, I'm not really looking in the chat room. I'll look in there in a minute. I just wanted to make sure I got that out to make sure we understand the difference between, because a lot, like I said, it's a lot of shows out here that actually do true crime investigations. Yes, the stories are real, but their angle and the way they put the story out is different. Okay, so go ahead and research that for yourself if you don't believe me. Some shows just putting out the what? They putting the story out. And the best thing that they are doing in that situation is just raising awareness. So if some people wonder, why is the family okay with this? Because it's raising awareness. Now they might not be happy with the end result, but the fact that MTV spoke on Kenneka Jenkins, it raised awareness. That's the best thing they can do in this situation. But it's not the type of television show to go digging and bring us the why. Which is the reason why everybody that was interviewed and everything that was said and put in place perfectly to fit their project, if you guys get what I'm saying. They're gonna lie. They're gonna lie. And another thing too, MTV, from what I looked at, it's actually called Masonic. Let me look that up because I showed y'all it's the Masonic building. If you guys didn't see my post, I actually showed you it's the Masonic building, and so they're going to put out what they want you to see. Okay, for instance, MTV have Catfish. Okay, and we thinking that Catfish, the whole point of Catfish, which they probably started out like this, but you better believe they had a deeper agenda as well. Because this is MTV, this is a Masonic television program that they're actually putting out. So we think like the whole point of Catfish is them like exposing some people that's hiding behind fake profiles and things like that, which is what they do. But if you actually look deeper, you'll see the agenda. 9 out of 10 of those episodes on Catfish are people who are gay or lesbians. Drop me a one if y'all hear what I'm saying. 9 out of 10 of those people who you see on Catfish is either gay or lesbian. So whatever they put out is going to fit their agenda. They're not gonna go against the grain. They are the grain. Hello. They not. We can't expect them to go against the grain. They are the grain. So if you pay attention and you peep it out, because my television was set on MTV pretty much the whole day. I had my daughter as soon as she came home from school about 3:30 to turn my TV on MTV, and I was watching a few episodes of Catfish, while I was cooking dinner and things like that. And I noticed everybody that was on there was gay or lesbian. So I got to do my research on Catfish. And I said, oh, okay, I see what y'all doing. We have to look through stuff. We have to look deeper. So yes, they only put things out to um to go along with their agenda. It's a network owned by Masons. So we expect Masons to expose other Masons? Come on now. Is that what we expect? That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Masons is not gonna expose other Masons. Okay? That's not gonna happen. So this is exactly what we was given. We was given a narrative in the very beginning, and they pretty much just cleaned it out, cleaned it up, they ironed it out, they presented it back to us. They made the people outside of the internet detectives look like they was nuts and just conspiracy theorists. So in case you come across any of those Kenneka Jenkins on YouTube, just understand these people are nuts. Look at the people that they chose to use. No shade towards the people that they chose to use, but just look at the people they chose to use. They didn't hold no real interview with people that was actually looking deep into this case or here since the very beginning. I would have rather seen somebody like Straight Drop on there. He been here since the very beginning. K420, do a real interview with them and let them speak on it. They didn't do that. They chose somebody who people barely know. One of my girls, if she in the chat room, I don't know, but she actually said to me in the group, she said, I've never even stumbled across her video. I've never even accidentally clicked on her video. Talking about the girl that they interviewed or the girl that spoke on it. Okay, and they did that just to make a mockery out of what we doing. Is something wrong with them if they can't see that this was an accident? So it's cool that you guys raising awareness and you putting the story out there, but the fact of the matter is you pushing a false narrative attached to her name. And some people have literally transformed their minds and been content with that. You said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna rock with this. This must be an accident. If MTV said it was an accident, they're not real detectives. They're not gonna dig deep. They're not gonna expose the why. They're only gonna show you the what happened to Kenneka Jenkins. Now I would like to see her case on the ID channel. I would like to see her case there and see them actually do some digging and give us the why, or other channels that actually have true crime stories and they do dig it, deep digging. They'll show you what happened, the fact that she hung out, she used to hang out with such and such, where's this mysterious security, da da da. They didn't speak on none of that. None of that. They're not gonna go against the grain. Okay, so I also want to mention something else because I kind of like swayed away. I wanted to talk about those 6 labs that went out. Another lab that went out I really want to talk about. Did you guys catch Jedediah's lab? I'm not gonna really talk about the other ones because the other ones really don't matter to me. But Jedediah's lab, to me, was something that was really heartfelt, even if he did feel away about the fact that he wasn't going to be, that he wasn't interviewed for. He still felt the way, and he decided, hey, I'm just gonna speak on some stuff that I should have spoke on long ago. Um, and I appreciated just hearing his live. Okay, it was 2 years later, but I appreciated just hearing his laugh. And once again, what stood out to me is the fact that he made mention of Mariah, this friendship, because now we all kind of stuck with What did Monifa do? Everybody is looking at Monifa like, Monifa, what did you do with her? What happened to her? If we don't stick with this narrative as far as she was sitting outside the door, drunk, intoxicated, you went back in to go get her phone keys. The keys were never there. If you went back in to go get her phone, what happened to her? Who did you hand her off to? Who was you with? Okay, and so Jedediah kind of touched on in his live the fact that Monifa was hanging with, was jealous of Kenneka friendship. Now I don't think Monifa did this out of a rage of jealousy. I really don't. I want to dismiss that altogether. I'm not getting at that. But the fact of the matter is, once again, we have Mariah's name being brought up, which is like I said, y'all. I was Rico. I was looking at in the very beginning, and I was looking at people. As far as the why, as far as the why Kenneka. Out of all them people in there, why was Kenneka the only one sloppy drunk? Hell, it wasn't even her birthday. You would think that the birthday girl would be tipsy. More tipsy than Kenneka. It wasn't even her birthday. So Jedediah do this live, in case some of y'all missed it. And he speak on that he was given a tip early on and he should have followed through with. And so what he was basically, just to kind of sum it up, he was basically letting everybody know, and this is what I got out of it, that I do believe that the friends are a part of what happened, have something to do with what happened. And so for me, I kind of like, I wanted that. I'm like, yes, finally somebody who is close to the case, close enough to say these friends are involved too. This is not an accident. This is not, you know what I'm saying? Because Teresa can't really say much. She can't really say much. She have a court date coming up. She have to remain, calm, collective, silent, whatever. So to actually hear somebody that was close to this case or close to Teresa, close to the family say, this wasn't no accident. And I have strong, belief that one of her friends did something, or maybe all of them did something. Her friends was definitely involved in it. I hope that us as YouTubers, we can really come together and come to the conclusion that it was not one party versus the other party. It was everybody. It was everybody in some form, way, or fashion. If we can just start there, if we can just start there and say, because I know we watched the MTV special when Zach said, "Do you have anything to think the friends did?" No, I don't think they had anything to do with it. Zach, he was a lie. I feel like he lied. The friends definitely have something to do with it. Definitely have something to do with it. Because again, we have to understand that we looking at gang members, we looking at higher ups who are Masons, Masonic members. So these people are seriously they live in a whole nother ground, in a whole nother world that we as the average citizens are not a part of or not welcome to unless we do a pledge or a vow to secrecy. So we have to understand what we're dealing with. And if we as YouTubers can come together and say, you know what, everybody plays some part somehow, I think that's the basis to coming together and putting our work together and trying to figure out where do we go from here. And stop just pointing the fingers at one group of people and saying this group right here is totally innocent. Well, how about if that's the case, if you feel that way, do some videos proving that these friends was totally innocent. You can't. You cannot. And this MTV special, not knowing what was on there, the fact that they all came out pointing fingers at each other and speaking out, that goes to show you something, because if I ain't did nothing and I'm just going to kick my feet up, I'm not worried about what nobody says, because I know I ain't did nothing, right? But the fact that fingers was being pointed, people felt it was necessary to speak out before this get out. Then here come the activists speaking out. Hmm. There's something to me. The beginning of the problem took place inside the party. Period. Period. Yes, I do remember that, Robin. I actually pointed that out before. I think it was Peasy that said it. It might have been Killer, but one of them said they asked the interview Zach. It was Zach. It was on a Zach interview. Zach asked them, "Who did you think did this to Kenneka?" They first response was, "It's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre." Everybody was in on it. Or he was explaining the movie. You know, Texas Massacre. You got the mom, you got the uncle, you got the dad, you got the da da da, you got the da da. You know, and that stood out to me. That was his response. I would have said more. It was like the movie Hotel Hell. I don't know if it's a movie called Hotel Hell. I just made that up, but I would have just referenced any other movie than that. And I've been from day one, like my spirit is just from day one. I cannot let up the fact that I believe everybody was in on it. The way I see it is that Kanika was a sacrificial lamb, and this is the same way I look at a lot of other cupcakes. I'm sorry, a lot of other stories that have blown up, such as cupcakes. I look at it like certain individuals are chosen, chosen for a movement or chosen for an agenda and or both. And they are chosen as a sacrificial lamb from by the elite or by the members. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of really feel like definitely everybody was in on it, and everybody gonna stick to the story because their greatest fear is walking outside their door and not returning home. Not what we think of them or say about them. And I just noticed a lot of us is slandering them on social media and going on their Facebook page and calling them pigs, dogs, and this, that, and other. You think they care about that? Their greatest fear is walking outside their door. Their greatest fear is disappointing somebody and somebody turning around and making them a target now. Because I'm pretty sure it's so easy to be a targeted individual in Chicago. I'm pretty sure it is. Another thing too, let me see if I can screen share this with y'all real quick. Um, that I was looking up. Now let me ask y'all real quick. Drop me one. Did everybody see the docu series? Is there anybody here that didn't see the docu series? Drop me one if everybody saw the docu series. Because I had some people that I spoke to that didn't get the privilege of watching it. I did go live in Facebook with my group, and we was discussing it while I was live. So I do have clips of it, but I just want to say that Facebook was kicking me off because I didn't have, I guess, disclaimer up. Even when I put up a disclaimer, they were stopping my live. We was having audio troubles, but I do have some clips of the video in case you guys haven't watched it and you guys want to see a clip of the video. I do have it inside my Facebook group. And like I said, it's like broken up. It's like 3 or 4 clips because Facebook kept stopping my live broadcast. But I was actually watching it and going live at the same time so we can all watch it together and speak on it. Um, and that's just in case, you guys want to see clips of it. I have it recorded. Hey, Prophetess Speaks. Hey, Pappy. Yeah, I was highly upset too. Still is, but I'm trying to really get over it because, like I said, now it's just time to go to war. Now it's just time to go to war. I started with the bottom, working my way to the top, but now I'm getting ready to start at the top. I'm getting ready to start at the top, and I guess this is where both paths gonna meet. Hello. But for me, it's like a little bit deeper and a lot more, and it probably is way above my paradigm, and I have to pray and ask God to give me understanding when trying to understand some of this stuff and look into some of this stuff. But I'm just ready to go to war. I'm ready to go to war. Period. And this is for us. This is for us because I believe the others. I believe that they all have the answers. This is just for us, for our sanctity, like our sanity. We need answers. We want answers. We want the why, not just the what. We want the why. So I'm really encouraging everybody. Don't be discouraged by what we saw yesterday. Keep fighting. Keep looking into stuff. Keep sending your favorite YouTubers information. YouTubers keep working and going hard for Kenneka. This has sparked up a fire in me. I'm ready to get back to work. So I thank them for that. This definitely was to bring new followers because that was the season premiere. That was the premiere of a new show. And notice they started the premiere off of speaking about Kenneka Jenkins because Kenneka Jenkins' name, her story, her death is like was the biggest trending topic of anybody's story. I don't think you could find a death or right now in the United States a name that was greater than Kenneka. And people to this day is still going hard. They knew how many subs it would bring in. I'm not subs, I'm sorry. People watching, viewers it would bring in. They knew. And notice they was really pushing it on social media like crazy. But yet when it was time to do the docu-series, they ain't even live streaming. For those that didn't have a cable or MTV. I'm like, wow. Y'all know that, if it wasn't for social media, Kenneka Jenkins' name would have died. So why wouldn't you have a pre-recorded video or video to actually, or live stream a video so they can actually watch it on the internet as well? Knowing that that's where most of her fan base is at on social media. You promoted it on social media. We couldn't have no watch parties or nothing. I had to go live and show my TV. They could have live streamed that video. I think KJ was dead when she was in a car or close to it. She had, it's going so fast. And fight broke out in the bathroom on these hoods. Notice y'all, they didn't mention any of this stuff. They didn't mention any. I mean, they didn't mention any of this stuff. They didn't mention, the fact that they talked about the buzz that was going on in Irene's live, and the buzz that was going on in Irene's live was whether or not she was getting raped in the room. There was also buzz going around when Tad dropped his live. We was talking about whether or not Tenacious spiked his drink. Did somebody spike her drink in that live? There was also buzz going around that video. They didn't even touch on that, just like that didn't touch on it when he interviewed Irene. They just ruled out the fact that she wasn't drugged, but I didn't understand what they was going as far as saying she popped pills before, and she was found with topamate in her system, but yet instead she wasn't drugged. They couldn't even explain why does she have a drug in her system that she didn't even take, that she wasn't even on. They gave us absolutely nothing. It was garbage, and it was just for views, period, point blank. And I think that was what really disappointed me the most. I'm just looking for you to kind of help us make sense of something, not give us all the answers, because I already knew it's not much you can really do in 30 minutes. But it's not much you could even sum up. I cannot sum up this whole case in one 30-minute video. That's why we got series of videos. That's why I got 70, 80 videos on Kenneka. Because there's no way I could sum this whole case up. If you really looking deep into this stuff, there's no way you can just sum everything up in 30 minutes. you didn't even talk to, like I said in my post on Instagram, I would like to see if Ty was out before, if he was out before, well, while this was recorded, I would have liked to see Ty being interviewed. I would like to see Tanisha being interviewed. I would have liked to have seen Shamaya and Monifa. I would have liked to have seen some more people that was at the party, even some guests that stayed. Even find one guest. I mean, you are a detective, right? Find one guest that stayed there that night. I would have liked to heard something from them. I'm thinking that they're going to do something that we had no access to, something that we couldn't really do, like notify one person that stayed at the hotel that night that could just give us something. I heard a bang in the room I was in or next door to me, just something that could have kind of helped us out. That's where my disappointment was at. Like, wow, they gave us absolutely nothing. They just really did a video. They did a film where they said, okay, here's what the family and friends got to say. Here's what social media was saying. Here's what the professionals are saying. And this is what we concluded. Here you go. And that was that. Pissed me off, y'all, because I'm like, dang, you didn't give us nothing that we didn't already know. Nothing. I'm thinking that y'all might even tell us how the Tuppermate was found. Maybe somebody told y'all, I'm thinking somebody probably told y'all how it was in her system. And y'all might have some type of inside information that we didn't have. And your excuse for her being dirty was the fact that she passed out on the floor and rolled around on the floor? That she collapsed and rolled around? Like, get out of here, man. Get out of here. Let me screen share this with y'all real quick. Straight up pissed me off. This avenue is going to be looking into a lot of different things that I probably hadn't really looked into before. So if y'all have more knowledge than me on this information, then help us out, because I just feel like we should work together and make sense of this whole thing. Okay, so I looked up, can EXE files be or altered? Because remember, we were at it in the end that from the specialist or whatever the hell he was, that it couldn't be altered or edited. So I kind of looked it up to actually see. And so, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I read, let me go to the other one. Actually, it's okay. So I asked the question, and it said exactly what exactly do you mean by editing? The exe file is a Windows, because I wanted to get more information, is a Windows executable or whatever file which is non-editable. But if you want to change its resources, icon, etc., you can use Resource Hacker Tool. Unextract tool lets you extract if there is an extractable package exe file. Also, reverse engineering is considered for truly editing an exe file. Everything can be reverse engineered. So as long as you have the brains for it, you can decompile the executable. Then you can I ain't got my glasses on, y'all. Then you can use other tools to look at the code. You would then need to recompile the XCX file. Okay, so help me make sense of this. They basically told us that the XCX file cannot be, and then the question that was asked is, can it be edited by someone? And like I said, I don't I got to go back. Y'all help me jog my memory. Can it be edited by someone who is untrained, or did they say somebody that was trained? Is it easily editable? I forgot the word that he used to be exact, but the guy said no. No, it cannot be. I actually got a clip of that footage if y'all don't remember what I'm talking about. So, what I'm seeing is it definitely can be edited. You can use the resource hacker tool. You also, it also can be, you can also take the route of reverse engineering, which is required for truly editing an exe file. Everything can be reverse engineered as long as you have the brains for it. Thank you for that disclaimer. That's what got me in trouble on Facebook, John. And just let y'all know too, YouTube been really messing with me. YouTube been I can't stand YouTube, but I'm end up doing a video on YouTube. I'm end up exposing the whole YouTube, the background, the people that work for YouTube, all of that, because YouTube have really been messing with me. I ain't gonna go there because this live ain't about me, but pray for me because they've been messing with me. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there that they can be reverse engineering and they can be edited. So the fact that he just shut it down was saying no. Like if it wasn't an exe file, then maybe you know what I'm saying. He would have had some type of doubt whether or not they was edited. But he's saying basically because of the file that it was transferred in, it cannot be edited. But it cannot only be edited. It can be reverse engineering can be done for somebody who's qualified or have the understanding of it or the brains for doing it. You can edit exe files, but it leaves a digital footprint. The only way to avoid the digital trail is if you delete the footage. Okay. Now that you know what, and I think that's a better understanding. And I know that he did kind of speak on it before, but prior to it, but it seemed like he ended it with saying so. Therefore, no, it can't be edited. We were all catfish last night. The jokes on us. The jokes on us. Is it possible that the files was edited prior to it ending up on the Rosemont website? And when Rosemont took the edited footage and then downloaded it in the exe file, is that possible? I'm asking these questions because this is the area that I never looked into, but it definitely had me curious because I think everybody in here can agree that that footage was definitely edited. Not just times, in my opinion. I think it was scenes that was actually edited, blurred out. You see time skipping. I mean, it was definitely some editing going on in that footage. They didn't really even speak on that. They didn't really speak on that. The Timeline Live was edited by experts and posted on their page. The question is who edited, the dates, where they edited. It is too complex to be edited. I felt the same way, Fred. I've always said that from the beginning. I think people thought I was crazy because I was saying that Taz Lab was out of place. Like all of them was out of place. It's kind of like we got clipped. And for one, I started to think, okay, was he pausing his live and restarting it? And was he waiting to actually post them on his page? Like I was trying to figure out why do his lives seem so edited to me? Nothing is just like ran through straight. You know what I'm saying? Like everything just looked at chopped and screwed to me. So I felt the same way about the party goers footage. Irene and Ty. My mom is a computer engineer, and I showed her the videos, and she says they are definitely edited by someone that knows what they are doing. Mm. I'm gonna look up what she just said. If the footprints can be, if the digital footprints can be removed some way. People know how to hack stuff nowadays, and I'm telling y'all, these hackers are experts now. Okay, so I just researched what you said, as far as if you was to edit the exe file, that it would actually leave digital footprints. And what I got, it says how to delete 99.9% of your digital footprint from the internet. So let me go ahead and pull this up so we can kind of look at this together. So I'm gonna share it and we can look at this together, because I believe it's always the way around things. Just like you can edit the exe file, you can also delete those footprints. So let's go ahead and pull it up. Okay, so I'm emailing this to myself. We're gonna pull it up and look at it. You just have to be somebody that really know what you're doing. Okay, I see a question that's posed. Here's all the links to delete you from services website. Let me see. All right, hold on, y'all. Let me see what I pull up. Let me kind of take a look. Because I believe that it's a way that you can even delete the trails that it leaves. But like somebody said, you just have to be an expert and really know what you're doing. And so we're dealing with experts that was tampering with the footage to where the average person wouldn't have no idea that this can be done. Let me see. I'm still trying to pull it up. My computer is slow. This will be something that I would love to see somebody dive into and kind of expose the truth behind this, because that pissed me off too when they said that the footage was not edited at all. That stuff was kind of put out there just to make us look like we just nuts. I mean, a whole community of people, like we're just nuts to even believing that she didn't walk into that freezer. Okay, he just came through. Okay, so let's look in the Reddit community and see what they got to say. And Fred, I definitely agree with you. I even think those labs was edited as well. I've always said that, but I think all those people that was interviewed last night was on CP side. Um, I don't know. I can't really say they was on CP side because we did hear one of Kanika's friends said, "I think everybody got something to do with it." Now I don't want to quote nobody because, like I said, after I watched that first video, I couldn't even go back and rewatch it again. I was so upset. But I remember one of them saying, "I think they all know what happened, or they all had something to do with it." Or she said, "I don't remember. I got to go back and watch it." But anyway, so how to delete 99.9% of your digital footprint from the internet or thread. So is this the same as AJ social media pictures are also edited, not just 36-hour footage? I can believe that. But who would have access to her page to actually edit her pictures? I mean, I'm not that's 100% false. Uh, the gatekeeping. Wow, it's 178 comments on this thread. Yes, right. I can't believe they didn't props for whoever job they did. Getting the fact that they, but like I said, the fact that they attaching um, a false narrative or a conclusion to the story. I don't understand how they getting props myself. I really don't. Fairly Google Chromeware reporter to .exe, which scans your entire hard disk for executable to another, and it reports the results to Google. Um, I want to look more into, but I actually have to. This is comments on this, and I have no knowledge whatsoever in editing exe files. Like I am computer myself, so when it comes to stuff like this, like my mind just simply draw a blank. But I'm good at reading and trying to understand the information I'm reading. I'm good at comprehending things that I've never understood before. But I'll have to sign in order to read all of them. Wow. Okay, but I'm about to get out of here. Because I have to sign in. I don't have an account with Reddit, but I bet there is a way, you guys, to actually remove the digital footprints that's left behind. I mean, if hackers can actually edit this file, I'm pretty sure it's a way to go behind them. It's a whole reverse um, that can be done. Let me stop Can y'all hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? Oh my God. Drop me a one if y'all can hear me. Well, drop me a one if y'all can hear me. This is crazy. 'Cause I swear to God, like every time I go live, it's always something. I'm always getting kicked off, kicked off. I just got kicked off the live, had to come back in, restart the stream yard, come back into the thing. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. I have no idea what happened. I don't know. I was looking at one window, and next thing you know it, I'm talking, and I'm thinking y'all listening to me, and I'm looking in the chat room, and it's saying my volume, y'all cannot hear no sound. I'm reading John's comments, and he's not hearing no sound. I'm like, what the hell? But anyway, gosh, like that was something else I wanted to show you guys, so I had y'all attention. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, y'all can hear me, right? Okay, so I also wanted to mention to y'all that I forgot when Jay Money was being interviewed. I'm wondering why there was no mention of the whole Adidas jacket. So now I'm wondering, was that whole message thing fake? Because he really didn't speak much, or he did speak much and they edited parts of his interview because he didn't even speak about him walking through the hotel, and there's still been some speculations as to whether or not he walked through the hotel. I mean, we would have just loved to hear his walk through the hotel, what he was thinking, what was on his mind as he was walking through the basement or through the upper kitchen. Like we really didn't hear much from him. And so while he was alive to actually get his story and to hear what he had to say, far as um, it was being mentioned in the beginning, if some of y'all can remember, that Jay Money was the one that actually put out there that she had on Adidas jacket, as well as Lenora. See, these are things that kind of drove social media into a psychiatric down spiral hill because if we hadn't had all of that stuff, we probably could have said, okay, well, based off of all the facts, maybe she did walk into the freezer. But if y'all remember, this story had began to get crazier and crazier, and we was like, wait a minute, it was different stuff that was popping up that we was looking. I mean, anybody with eyes and ears and some type of spiritual discernment or wisdom or intellect or whatever, anybody would have began to question what it was they was looking at or why is these people saying this? And these were statements and stuff that was coming from people that was close to Kenneka. So I'm really wondering why we didn't really get much from him. Can y'all hear me? I'm really wondering why we didn't really get much from him while they was actually interviewing him, or did he really talk more and they just edited out the video because they had to compile everything into 30 minutes of footage. So like that was something that really stood out to me as well. And also, I remember I have a statement that I screenshotted and I saved that the family came up with. If you guys can remember, the family came up with a statement that they were going to present to. I want to say this was a statement to the FBI, or it could have been to the Attorney General of Chicago. I really don't know who this statement was actually wrote out to, but it was talking about the suspicious death of Kenneka Jenkins, and they was talking about how the case was mishandled, and it was also speaking about a lot of different things that just didn't make sense. And one of the things I'm actually looking at the statement right now, so I'm gonna read to y'all a few things that they had written on his letter. If y'all can remember, it was like a 7, maybe 8 page letter. But it was talking about inconsistencies in the crime scene photos. There was an Adidas shoe print right next to Miss Jenkins' body. Have anybody, and I don't watch a lot of YouTubers, no shade, but I have a lot going on and I really sometimes can't, but When people bring me videos, I definitely watch them. But have anybody ever pointed out this Adidas shoe print in a crime scene photos, or even kind of looked at who was all in Adidas? Because this was actually a statement or a letter that was written by her family. And this was some inconsistencies and things that they pointed out and they seen in the crime scene photos. Okay, so this was not just coming from YouTubers who lost their mind and who can't deal with the fact that she walked into a freezer. This was actually statements and a paperwork that the family put together, a letter that the family put together. And so that was one of the things that stood out to me because, like I said, none of this stuff they touch on. But the family actually put out, as far as the crime scene photos, there was Adidas shoe print right next to Miss Jenkins' body. Now, because this is something that I told myself, like, I need to go back over those crime scenes because me, myself, personally, I don't remember seeing an Adidas shoe print. Now, I've seen people that was dressed in Adidas that had on Adidas gym shoes, but I didn't actually see an Adidas shoe print next to her body. So this is something that I want to take a deeper look into with other YouTubers, because like I said, you should too as well. This is actually a statement coming from the family, okay? And the fact that Kenneka wore Jordans. So whose Adidas gym shoes were they? Shoe print, what was they? Did they belong to? Was it the security guard? Did he have on Adidas gym shoes? I would love to know if we can kind of get a close up of his gym shoes and see that his gym shoes Adidas. Another thing that they also pointed out, there was an appearance of black burnt plastic and soot located mainly around her body. They didn't speak about that. Okay, after the body was moved, the burnt plastic suit is not under the body. It made an outline of her body. The only explanation is that the black suit came after her body. No explanation to why there is dirt inside the ear. Now they did kind of explain that, but not really why it was dirt inside of her gym shoes. There is a substance on her stomach that appears to be semen, and we all seen the substance on her stomach. These were things that we actually saw. And anybody with a right mind that's looking at these crime scene photos would say, hey, something going on, something happened. It's deeper than her just walking in there. And I hope somebody that feel like that actually believed this docu-series last night, I hope y'all listening. And I hope y'all taking all of this into consideration. Because stuff like this is the reason why I can never say she walked into that freezer, closed the door, and just lay down and died. And this is not coming from me. These is like, I would have just screenshotted it, but like I said, it's like 7, 8 pages long. So I want y'all to just kind of follow along with me. This is a statement that came from the family. Okay. So no real explanation why it was dirt in the inside of her shoes. There is a substance on her stomach that appears to be semen. Of course, they didn't mention that. They're not going to mention anything about rape. It was no foul play, and they left it at that. Black material on her fingernails that did not match her clothing. They didn't, matter of fact, let me just say this. They didn't even kind of examine the crime scene photos. They didn't even really speak much of the crime scene photos, but those that actually cared, those that actually wanted to know and was digging for the truth, we saw the black stuff on her fingernails. We wanted to know what was that black stuff on her fingernails. Some said it was a garbage bag. Some said it was burnt plastic. I don't know. Everybody had different ideas of what that was on her fingernails. But of course, this was something that MTV would never touch because they cannot give us an explanation for that. And it would lean more on the side of a murder than it would lean as an accidental death. So this was something that they pointed out as far as the family. Her clothing shows signs of a struggle. Now I already know that people say when people die of hypothermia that they remove their clothes. They take their clothes off. Kenneka's clothes was not taken off. She was not inside that freezer naked. Let's just get that straight. Okay, her clothes looked like she was in a struggle hanging off of her. She was not she wasn't undressing herself. She wasn't undressed. Her pants was still buttoned, yet her pants was slightly pulled down. Her jacket was open, yet her bra was slightly pulled down. So if it was undressing based off of hypothermia, why did she still have that jacket on? That jacket would have been the first thing she took off, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of that with people saying, that's the reason why, she looked like she's undressed or she was undressing herself in there. She still have her jacket on. Hey, John. I don't know what happened. I got kicked out. I got kicked out of StreamYard and I had to come back in. But so yeah, that's something this is stuff that her family pointed out. Okay, and I took screenshots of this and I saved it in my phone. This was like 2 years ago, okay, that they put this out, and I wanted to make sure I still had it because I knew it's gonna be a time I'm gonna be able to go back and look at this. But this was stuff they never mentioned. The black material on her fingernail. The fact that her clothes show signs of a struggle as if her clothes like it was being pulled down but not off, not taken off. And so, from my understanding, the person that's suffering from hypothermia, they would be actually undressing their clothes. So we would have saw her in the freezer with no jacket on. First, the jacket would have been the first thing to go, right? If your mind is telling you warm, wouldn't your jacket be the first thing to go? If that's the case, but yet the jacket was still on, the bra pulled down, the pants still on, but they pulled down just a smidget. So, Miss Jenkins' hair did not have bangs in the footage. This is what, again, you guys, this is the statement that I'm reading from the family. Miss Jenkins' hair did not have bangs in the footage released of her arriving at the hotel. In the crime scene photos, she had bangs. Please explain that to us, MTV. Explain to us why we seen her walking and she have a part down the middle of her head, but in the freezer she have bangs. And I remember it was a long, drawn out argument or debate on YouTube. Some people were saying that those was not bangs. Some people were saying that was her hair all over her head. Those was bangs. Either way it go, the front part was shorter than the rest of her hair. If you look at Kenneka arriving to the party in the car in the footage with Shamaya or walking through the hotel, her hair is all the same length, down past her shoulders. So how is it? It could be the reason why, and I know Miss Teresa is talking about her hair being cut off prior to arriving to the funeral or at the funeral home, but at the same time, maybe she's talking about the fact that somebody cut her some bangs or put a wig on her. Because some of us believe that that's a whole wig that she had on in the freezer. Notice they made no mention of her hair. Them insane YouTubers did though. Those conspiracy theorist YouTubers, they made mention of her hair. They wanted to know why straight hair all of a sudden looked curly, like a curly weave. Even if you wet straight hair, it's still gonna be straight wet. It's not gonna curl up. And it's sure not gonna fall off in the front and give you some bangs. This is stuff that was not mentioned. But this is stuff that her family recorded in the very beginning. In the crime scene photo, she had already said that her hair is singed and soaking wet. They didn't give us no type of explanation as to why her hair was wet. I guess they want us to believe, well, she was frozen and she unthawed, and when she unthawed, her hair became wet. There was no fingernail scrapings, DNA, or any other biological items collected or tested. And there was no rape kit performed, none of that. Um, Miss Jenkins' body was listed as frozen, but it was not properly thawed. And somebody asked the question as to, because even in a statement right here from her family saying Miss Jenkins' body was listed as frozen, but it was not properly thawed. Somebody asked the statement before, like, how was they able to lay her flat on that gurney without breaking any of her bones? The family tell us right here that it was not properly thawed. Okay, so was she or was she not frozen? Because it's kind of like the family is saying that the body is listed as frozen, but it wasn't all the way thawed out. So I'm kind of confused there. And we see her laying flat on the gurney. This was something, of course, the MTV wouldn't dare touch because now they have to tell us the truth. Was she actually found frozen solid or was she not frozen? Was her hair wet because she was sweating in there? Like, what's going on? So they really only touched on some stuff they can actually come back and explain and have an explanation for it. But a lot of this stuff right here, this was stuff that we were seeing in the very beginning. Even the family wrote statements demanding that the FBI reopen the case according to these statements and inconsistencies. And guess what? We all was left to dry. They left us all there to dry. Like they didn't have no explanation for any of this stuff. Crime scene photos show an ice cube next to her foot. In other photos, the ice cube is melted into a puddle. Of course, stuff that they're not going to speak on. They say she did, Delta. Besides her thymus gland, they claim she did. And I believe I seen that body move on the gurney. Also missed me. Of course, they wasn't going to speak on that. How many of y'all seen that body move on the gurney? Reflexes, I don't care. Just give me an explanation. Just tell me something. And why you got all your experts looking into it and you interviewing all your experts, why not ask any of you, why not make mention of any of this to your experts? Right? Why not make mention of any of this to the experts? What about the fact that there was a coffee cup sitting on a stainless steel table? It was never collected during the investigation. The cup later disappeared. One minute we saw a coffee cup sitting there. And at one point, Lord, help me, y'all. Help me if I'm wrong. But if I could recall, at one point, didn't we see? Because, like I said, I don't know. It's so many. It was so much stuff that was put out there, and I even believe it was some YouTubers probably putting stuff out there, or some people that was attached to the case putting stuff out there to throw us off. But at some point, didn't y'all want? Didn't at one point we saw a wig that was in there? I know I remember seeing a wig. If I'm not tripping, I don't know if that video was authentic or not, but I remember even seeing a wig in there. And I remember at one point we was wondering, why is this wig in here? Um, Maybe it was just me. Maybe it was just me. I'm just bringing up some inconsistencies and some things that even the family noticed and pointed out that was not brought up or mentioned in this YouTube, not YouTube, in this MTV series. Yet we were made to look like we just insane, like we nuts, we conspiracy theories, and we just won't let it go. Not to mention, maybe I missed this part. Let me know if I'm wrong. Did they mention anything about the fact that Kenneka's mama was sure there was a camera above the freezer? Which is why I'm really upset they didn't even interview the beverage manager. Nobody from that hotel, the owner, nobody from that hotel to ask questions like this. So the mom said that she believes she saw a camera above the freezer. What do you have to say about that? That wasn't brought up. Um, whew. The original hard drive was not collected. Rosemont received the footage on a thumb drive early in the investigation. So we still have the original hard drive, like I said, was not. I said that's why I said that could it be that the original hard drive they still have and everything was edited prior to being put on XDX files. I don't know too much about XDX files, but I will do my homework and learn as much as I can about this. But this is the reason why I said because they have actually kept the original, downloaded what they actually wanted to present to Rosemont and placed on XDX files to make it look like it was not edited or nothing could have been edited or tampered with. Um, so this is stuff that the family pointed out in the beginning of the case. They didn't explain why with some cameras inoperable that could have caught her pass, as I said before, that was not explained out of 47 cameras. Is that normal in your hotel not to have all your cameras working? You paying top dollar for this security service and you don't have working cameras, especially in the kitchen area where employees can go down there and steal or sneak off or sleep. I mean, not forget just steal food, where they can go down there and sleep. You can catch people sleeping when they're supposed to be working. They did not verify how long said cameras had not been broken. There are two cameras that was listed as inoperable that are questionable. The camera labeled Laundry 2 was listed as inoperable, but footage from the camera was released. The camera labeled Culture Kitchen Stairs is listed as inoperable. This camera is important because it is located directly outside of the kitchen in which Ms. Jenkins' body was found. The evidence photos taken on September the 10th at 2:07. The camera has two working lights, one red, one blue. The camera was on. The camera was discovered inoperable on September the 14th and also repaired on September the 14th, I believe it said. They did not speak on Andrew Holmes whatsoever. What? Because now they have to explain the original hard drive footage. Do you guys remember me telling y'all? Hold on, I gotta get me another bottle of water. I'm sorry. Okay. I actually didn't go live with this information now that I think about it. And the reason why I didn't is because I was speaking with somebody behind the scenes. And this live's not going to be too much longer. I just want to say this. I was speaking with somebody behind the scenes, and we were determined to get this footage. But there was a blog site that claimed they actually had a copy of or saw, I don't know if they even said they saw it or had a copy of the original, the real tape. Because in their blog, and I know y'all probably heard of this before because it ended up getting inside the Facebook group. I shared with her an article from that blog site, and she shared it to the Facebook group, and everybody was talking about it. But this blogger or blog site claimed that they actually saw Kenneka in a lobby and on an elevator, and they didn't say walk into the freezer like Andrew Holmes did. But apparently they saw some footage that we didn't see. So me and a person that I was working with behind the scenes, we was secretly offering them money and trying to pay for that footage. And we were trying to get a hold to them and, sending emails back and forth, making them an offer and trying to get a hold to that footage. So after our last attempt, we didn't hear back from them whatsoever. But so they didn't even mention Andrew Holmes and the fact that Andrew Holmes was beside the mother in the beginning. Andrew Holmes was shown possibly the real tape or was shown something different or possibly just lied and said he was shown something different, because I definitely believe there's some original real tapes out there, some unedited tapes out there that we just have not seen. We've seen what they gave to the public. Okay, I don't even think the family have actually seen these. And but they didn't mention that whatsoever. Of course, because if they mentioned that, now they have to address the fact that there's possibly more tapes out there, or an original hard drive with the full 36 hours on there, unedited. So of course they kept it off the MTV documentary because they didn't want to have to address that or acknowledge that. Okay, but yes, I did come across a blog site and I did reach out to the editor, and me and another person, we was actually trying to put our money together and we was trying to bat at footage. And so I didn't want to put it out there at first because I didn't want to let people know, I didn't want to just kind of throw salt on what we was trying to do. So behind the scenes, we was trying to put our money together and offer this blog site some money to release that tape if they had anything, or did you actually see something, or did you have something? Which one is it? And so after several attempts of us, contacting the editor, the owner of the site, we were just sending different emails to the company, and they was not responding to us. So we ended up failing in that mission. But I just found it strange that they actually reported that they seen footage of Kenneka in the lobby. They seen footage of Kenneka in the elevator, and they was talking about real unedited footage, and they were seeing footage in the elevator by herself. So it's not the one where they actually come into the party that everybody think about. No, they seeing alone. They saw footage of her on the elevator alone, and they saw footage of her in the hotel's lobby walking past the front desk. Let me be clear on that. Walking past the front desk. So it was apparent to us that they saw something that we didn't. And this is in the very beginning. Well, they put the statement out in the very beginning. I came across it later on, maybe like a few months after I started doing videos. I'll say maybe like 5, 6 months later is when I came across the article and we started reaching out to the editor and everything. But so apparently there is an original hard drive of the full unedited 36 hours that they did not show the public. It's probably destroyed by now. At one point, it was said that it was in the dark web. I have no idea. But I definitely believe, even the family believes, that it's some real footage out there, unedited, and they have yet to see it. Hey, Malika, why didn't they mention 4 other people died connected to this? They just mentioned Zach and their uncle. Yeah, exactly. That's a good question, Taylor May. I don't know. I guess they're trying to sweep that under the rug as if there wasn't any other people that died in connection to it, because we really don't know. Only thing I know is when I first started doing videos, everybody was coming to me like, be careful, because of what is her name? It was YouTubers that passed away. It was another guy that passed away. Then we had one of Kenneka's friends, the girl that had an Adidas outfit, and so everybody was pretty much saying that those deaths was attached to the case. I don't really know. Sherry Shriner is her name, and it was another one, OTE head or something like that. I could be wrong. OTD head or something. I don't know. And then there was also Eugenia, I think her name is. But it was different people that everybody was saying that was died in connection to Kenneka's case. But like I said, I really couldn't find any proof. It was not really much proof on it. So I'm surprised they even mentioned, and I don't even think that they mentioned it in a way as if they died in connection to this case. They mentioned it, they're no longer here. Rest in peace to 2 guys that was on this footage and no longer here. You see what I'm saying? They ain't even mentioned that as if this was in connection to her death, because again, they saying that her death was an accident. They're not saying it was murder. Yeah, OTD. Yeah, T Street. Exactly. Exactly. And I thought about that too. Prophetess speaks. I thought about that too because, and that's another thing. That's the reason why we can't say certain people if we really don't have any proof. Because some people just let their name die, but the actual person might still live. Like I can kill Malika off tomorrow, and or Malika the lioness. I can't kill myself off, but I can kill Malika the lioness off tomorrow, and you'll never hear from her again. That don't mean my actual person is dead. It just means that I'm dead with YouTube. I'm done with this case. I'm done investigating. I'm out of the public eye. I'm going back private. Because remember, I told you guys in the lab, it's two different sectors to life. You have public and you have private. Okay, you have public and you have private, and you cannot operate in private being a, how can I say this? You cannot operate in a public realm being a in a private realm being a public figure unless you change your name. And that's why, if you notice, like with reality TV or with a lot of celebrities, they have a name that they use for the public, but it's not really their government private name. You see what I'm saying? So in a lodge or in a realm that they operate in private, they may be known under their government name. But in the public, you know them as, for instance, Nipsey Hussle. You don't call him Erminus or whatever his name is. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't even pronounce his name, but I'm just trying to give you guys an example. And some people just drop the last name, and a public figure name is just their first name or an initial or something like that. And sometimes it shocks you when you find out, dang, that's not even this person's real name. You see what I'm saying? Like I used to think Jay Z first name was Jay or something that started with a J. I didn't know it was, I think it's Shine or something like that. So it's two different realms in this thing we call life. And if you operate in the public, you have to have a separate entity. Thank you, Lord. That's what I'm trying to say. To use to operate. If you're operating in private, you have to have a separate entity to operate in public. Okay, and you definitely cannot be a private person and go publicly with the things that you find or discuss or know in private, unless you subliminally put it out there because that's what the puppet master is telling you to do for their agenda. But you can't just be messy. Again, the vow of secrecy, the oath that you take. If you guys get what I'm saying. So it's some people that will. I definitely agree with you, Prophet Speak, that will just kill off their public name, but that don't mean that they're not operating in private. If it make any sense. I thought his name was Sean. I thought his name was Sean. Zach was getting death threats. He definitely was getting death threats. I remember that. Understand that editing can't happen in real time before the video recorded before September the 8th. That's what I need to really connect with you on, Fred, because I remember we were talking before about editing and the pictures and everything being edited and being taken at one particular time, but being put out there in different times. And the way you explained it made so much sense. But I have to really get back to taking some time to kind of focus in just on that. The first footage posted was Ty and Irene's live, which was the night of the so-called party, September the 8th. Email me again, Fred. I know you got my email, and we can talk more on that. Yep, the security strangled a 24-year-old to death on New Year's. Where did you get that from, Elizabeth? I would love to know, because I didn't see anything about that. Somebody said that was not the same security guard. We have to be careful with the information that we get, but I would love to take a look at that. Yes, security guard seen at hotel and hallways that night was just arrested for murder. Look up Rosemont security guard arrested for murder. I was just looking up the Rosemont security guard, you guys, and I'm definitely gonna look into that again. I would love to know where y'all got that from. Yes, Stephanie. Celebrities would, and also private people who you don't consider celebrities. There's millionaires out there. There's people who operate in occults and things like that who you might not know about because they're not a celebrity to us, but they still operate in either private and public. And because I was doing it at one point, and I was sovereign, and I was operating in private, and I was doing certain things that wouldn't be acceptable as a public figure, and I was learning different techniques. I don't want to really say too much, but I was learning ways to kind of operate in private. And it was also told to me that once you become sovereign and once you fill out certain paperwork and once you do certain things, that the FBI will watch you. You will be watched. And if you put this information out to the public, you can become an enemy of the state. I don't know because I didn't get that far off into it because God redirected my path real quick. But it's people that's not just celebrities that do it as well. And this I know for a fact. Them kids got paid to do their job. It was much acting going on. Them kids was walking in the halls as if they was looking for a missing person, but they really wasn't. I agree, Vanessa. I agree. I've always, bless you too, Tiffany. I always believe that it's levels to it. It's definitely, this is a caustic, y'all. This is definitely a caustic, and I always believe it's levels to it. And the kids was nothing but the puppets of the puppet masters. And this is the reason why they can't go down, because if they go down and anybody talk or break their silence, I mean they can sink a whole ship. They can sink a whole ship. But yet we do have a court date coming up. Not we, but Miss Teresa do have a court date coming up. I am very much looking forward to seeing this court date, and I'm going to keep hope alive, and see how that turn out. Because if she win this negligence suit, or let's not say if she win it, as she goes to trial, there may be some people that may have to take the stand and testify. And I'm talking about as far as the group, the friends. And so hopefully we'll get some answers at that point. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, we can't really expect for them to just go live and really care about what the world say or think when their biggest fear is walking outside the door and being shot and killed from the people around them, those who know what's up. Being labeled as a snitch, that's their biggest fear, not what we think of them. Okay, Fred, looking forward to it. Oh my God, that was not a security guard. I'm gonna look into that little mistaken. I'm gonna look into that a little bit more, and then when I look into it, I'll let y'all know what I think on my next live. But if anybody have that footage or a link to the article, Elizabeth, please send it to me. But I'm gonna Google it myself. This stuff is beyond crazy, Sakina. It is beyond crazy. I'm just reading some of these comments. I'm getting ready to get up out of here. I've always wondered that too. Another mystery: who was across the hall or next door? She could have been snatched right in another room. Who would actually have the guts? I always wondered that. Like, that was my first initial question. Was it somebody that was just lurking around the hotel? A guest that might have stayed there and saw her intoxicated on any of those floors that she walked on, and somebody just snatched her up. You know, I've always wondered that. But at the same time, it was so many kids walking around, or not kids, but so many black people, let's just say that, walking around that hotel that night. Who really would have the guts to do it? Now, I could see if, now look, this is the difference. This is the way my mind thinks. I'm not trying to argue with nobody. This is just the way my mind thinks. I could see if it was a weekend where the hotel was kind of slow. Wasn't many people, wasn't no parties. Only a few girls went to the hotel to go swimming, and somebody got snatched up. We talking about a hotel that was flooded with Negroes. Do y'all hear me? We talking about a hotel that every time you look around, a group of Negroes walking in the door. Because that was my first thought when I started looking to this case. I started looking at, I wonder, was it a guest or something that snatched her up, and saw her walking around or whatever. But then I just started looking at how people was coming in wave after wave after wave. And I'm thinking, like, who would have the guts to do that? Not knowing if them Negroes would have turned that hotel inside out looking for her. Not know, you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I could see if it was like a Wednesday and it was only a few friends and one of them disappeared. Then yeah, I would have, thought like maybe the hotel snatched her up, maybe the a guest snatched her up. But this is the reason why me myself personally feel like it's more to it than that. It was the setup, and Kenneka was sold over to transferred over to that hotel, and the hotel benefited or thought they was gonna benefit for that off that body. But this is the reason why I think the way I think, y'all. And this is the reason why I came up with what I came up with, because I said it's not like it was just an ordinary day where her and her friends just went swimming. Okay, it was a party. It was different parties there. You look at the footage, it was different groups of black people that was coming in one by one by one by one. And these are all black folks that live in Chicago. Another thing I noticed, most people when they do day parties and stuff, because I have been following these gangs, these people for a long time. Okay, for a long time. One thing I noticed, and I pay attention to everything. One thing I noticed is a lot of times when they put flyers out about their birthday or their party, they don't put the location. They say inbox me for the location. They not gonna put out there exactly where they are. It's because of the ops. We don't want the ops know that we over here at the such and such this night partying or whatever. They'll say inbox for the location. They'll let you know it's going down. It's gonna be the big one on such and such day, but inbox me for the location. This was actually put out there, promoted, um, and you see like everybody and they brother, mama, daddy from Chicago over at Rosemont this same day. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So for me, it's kind of impossible for me to believe that some hotel guest just saw a black girl stumbling. All these black people walking through the hotel looking like gang members, where the average non-black person would have said, "Oh no, not tonight." Like, you know what I'm saying, or something. Because if she would have been kicking some walls in or fighting inside of a room and somebody would have peeped out what was going down, they could have turned that whole hotel upside down. Another reason why I kind of feel like it was a setup too, because they didn't. People was leaving and still partying as this girl was missing. Even Irene, the one some of y'all feel sorry for, she never got off her butt. She told them, "Kenneka missing. Well, y'all go look for her then." And then her explanation for that was, "I needed to be here just in case she came back." You had enough people left in the room for somebody to be there. You should have been with them looking for her, because that's your friend. And you said you stand 10 toes down when it come to your friend. Ain't nobody gonna go missing on your watch. What the hell are you talking about? Somebody did go missing on your watch, and you told them to go look for her. She could have had Tiffy or Kenneka homeboy Neff. One of them, y'all stay in the room. Neff, you stay here. I'm about to go with them. We about to go look for Kenneka. We about to tear this boy up. We need like half of y'all that's in this room. As a matter of fact, all of y'all that's in this room, minus one. Neff, you stay here. All the rest of us, come on, let's go look for her. So I just kind of feel like all of that is bogus. All of that is bogus to me. They very much has something to do with it. If you notice, Neff came in, and I want to say an Indiana Chiefs jersey, I believe it was. Next thing you know, you see a female walking around in an Indiana Chiefs jersey. You don't even see them together. I could see if they was a couple when they walked in together dressed alike, but what the hell did you put on his jersey for a quick second just to walk in front of the cameras? I just kind of feel like all of that stuff was kind of set up to throw us all off, to throw the cameras off, to throw everybody off. And then Zach said in his TV, if we wanted to kill somebody, we would just, if y'all remember the MTV special, people don't take nobody to no hotel. We just shoot you in Chicago. Drop me a one if y'all can remember that. But what Zach was basically telling us, he's telling the truth. If we got beef with you, we'll just fight you. We'll just kill you right there where you stand. But at the same time, I think it was a little bit more than them just killing her. Maybe they didn't even expect to kill her, but I definitely believe that they intended to gang rape her. I would stand behind that until somebody proved me wrong. I definitely believe them vice lords, them niggas. I'm getting all upset all over again. I'm sorry, y'all. Help me, Lord, forgive me. I definitely believe them niggas intended on gang raping her. Period. Point blank. And video in the gang rape like they did that 15-year-old in Chicago. You can't gang rape somebody on the streets of Chicago. You gotta take them to a hotel to gang rape them. And if you got another one of your homegirls who's talking about having a birthday party coming up and she want to get a room, that would be the perfect time to gang rape her. Let's get it. I'm ready to get back on this case. I'm ready to do some more digging. Lord knows where I may go. I may be all over it with it. Fred Woods, I want to link back up with you. All of the names, I want to link back up with you. I'm definitely going to still be working with John behind the scenes. Watch out, squad. I'm so glad you on the team. Sakina, I'm so glad you still in the fight. All you other YouTubers, let's have a new year, new beginning. I don't want to beef with nobody. I don't care to beef with nobody. Let's fight for this baby. Get justice for Kenneka. United we stand, divided we fall. Keep that in mind. I got to get out of here, you guys. Let's start this thing off like it was day one. Send me anything that y'all want us to look at, talk about, whatever. And let's just get back to work because they really tried to play us yesterday. And that pissed me off. They really tried to play us. This case was not investigated. There was not a rape kit done on Kenneka. Or if it was, we don't know about it. All we know is there was no signs of sexual abuse. Even Dak said out his mouth that he think one of the hotel somebody in the hotel raped her. I think it was a rape, a struggle, a fight. See, they was telling us some stuff, but they wasn't telling us the who or the why. They was giving us the what though. Because the whole MTV series is based off of the what happened to Kenneka Jenkins. Not who did it, when they did it, or why they did it. Notice, all of that was left out. So I got to get up out of here, but I will be going live again soon. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening to me. And I'm sorry about that little mishap that we had in the middle with my I got kicked off of StreamYard. I don't know what happened, but I love you guys. I got to get out of here, get ready to get my kids out of school. But yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more, you guys. We're gonna talk a little bit more, so be looking out for my next live. I love you guys. I'm gonna get up out of here. They definitely tried to gang rape her or gang rape her. And I believe that's the reason why she was set up and taken to a hotel in the first place. Because it probably was never about killing her. It was probably about making her pay, making her suffer, or getting us some coochie, whatever. Let's keep that real. Let's make that very clear. And all of us YouTubers may not agree. All of us in the community may not agree. And that's fine. A lot of people may not agree with me. A lot of people still saying them kids ain't have nothing to do with it. Well, I'm gonna do a video where I'm gonna have a list of inconsistencies from the kids and a list of reasons why I feel like they are involved. Maybe somewhere down the line, and you can debunk that and explain to me all of this stuff that I'm gonna put in this video and why you feel like it's false. And if you could prove to me that they had nothing to do with it, I'll leave them alone. Until then, justice for Kenneka.